Second.
Curtis and Jill. Moved and seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I need a pen that writes.
There you go.
I got one. I come prepared. All right, next thing I need is a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
So we got Jill and Curtis. Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, recognitions.
I want to take the opportunity just to thank the greater educational community. We just experienced, I believe, an excellent school year for a variety of reasons. You know, I think they officially say the pandemic is done, but for me, more importantly here, we've had a year of normal. And it's just really been a good school year. It's really been nice not to have to look over our backs at all times. But once again, kind of a double celebration, because blessed to have been here during the kerfuffle, because I think we handled it real well as far as the district goes. Yeah, there were some acceleration here and there, of course, but nothing like what I know across the state. So just very pleased to be back to normal and looking forward to even bigger and greater things as we move forward. President Jones.
Right. Okay, we'll move to Mike and financials.
Okay, on page 1 of the warrants, kind of in the middle, Bruckner truck sales, some repairs on Unit 1, $7,618 worth of repairs. And then on page 3, down towards the bottom, High Plains Co-op, we paid our final portion of $93,752, 25 cents, and then above that is flow through from the state of $74,843. Then on page 4, KSB, our membership renewal that you guys agreed to, $10,965.22. So the warrants on page 8, total $496,092.78 for this month. And then on page 10, our cash balances are doing okay. And then page 12, our budget's where we expect it to be also at this time. And then behind that's the transfers and the high school and middle school reports. So if you have any questions.
If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the financials at $496,092.78.
So moved.
Jill and Ryan Schreivogel. It's been moved and seconded to approve the financials. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, no public patron concerns, so administrative reports, Dr. Meyer.
All righty, a couple things to talk to you about. We had our KSC fiscal audit just completed. Overall, very, very clean. We did lose 2.2 FTE due to a variety of, factors on weightings and whatnot. It comes out to about $14,000. However, I'll be asking you to approve the republishing of the budget because we stand to gain over $133,000 because of that risk. And that's an action item later on for us to set that hearing and action up for the June board meeting. So all in all, good stuff as far as the audit goes. There are lots and lots and lots of many details go into that, and our team does a really nice job with that. Chiller. Want to give a shout out again to Tom for his good hard work on basically telling Train, play ball or else. And when we had a good, it was nice and cool in the gym. It was 77 degrees when it was all said and done and over. So that's pretty good, considering how warm it was outside and you get 1,000 people in there. Now we're moving on. Well, we've been working on and moving on to the next phase of this. Like I said, this is a gift that keeps on giving. We're dealing with the chiller. I'm in the process of working with 457. They're rolling out several of their chillers. And so we're looking at the 175,000 ton one because these are 200,000 ton. That's what we have. And I'm in dialogue with Dr. Dominguez over there. We do have to know that the word used means used. So to expect we're going to buy somebody's cast off and it's perfect, don't expect that. So we're not just going to go buy something, closed with our eyes closed. We're going to take a look at it and see, well, let's say it costs $3,000 to buy the item. What's it going to cost to get it up and rolling? And so Tom's in the process of getting us delivery options, costs behind that and whatnot. And then, he's gonna go over this week and actually take a look at them and say, okay, what do we need to do to this to make it work? So we're getting down the path. In the meantime, we have plan A, B, and C. So we've got it train on the hook to bring the chiller back to us if we want it, come August, September, and October. Because it's one thing to cool a room in May, completely different thing to do so in August, September, and October, because it'll be hot then, no matter which way you look at it. If you'll recall, though, the delivery charge and setup for 1 month is $19,000, and every other month after is $13,000. So if we had it for 3 months, it's north of $40,000. So if we can get a chiller and get it installed for like 10 to 15, we're money ahead. Now, of course, we'd own a separate chiller. In the meantime, Tom found another company who will also rent chillers, a little less expensive. So it's $11,000 per month instead of 13. Their total charge of setup and takeaway is $5,000, but we're still talking $30,000 or so if we end up going that path. Or we can just break holes in walls and windows and tell everybody to bring a fan. But it's going to be warm.
I think they're having a sale on the window units at Sam's.
We'll go buy a ton of little window units. That's the other frustrating part, because we looked at rooftops. We looked at it, say, what are some other options here? Well, they're $20,000 a unit, and the spaces we're talking about doing are big, and there's no guarantee they'd be here on time. The chiller that you guys purchased back in January or whatever, they're making it in Pueblo. I mean, I'll drive the Suburban over and pick it up part by part, but I don't know why it can't be here before December. But that's the delivery date. Anyway, move.
Why is Garden City getting rid of theirs?
Don't know. We think they're going to rooftops. Maybe they're utilizing ESSER money. I don't know. Yeah, all I know is they have something for sale. And if we can get something that works, for a little bit. You actually know, Tom?
Yeah.
What's the reason?
They're putting units just like what we have up at the high school and in the office, which from what I was told today, we're definitely gonna have problems with that unit. Because the compressors go out of them, the heat exchangers goes out of them. And John with Train today told me, don't do that. They're a waste of money in gardening.
Okay. Well, that's another little wrinkle. I'm glad we have a challenge.
So we got another challenge ahead of us at the high school.
Best laid plans of mice and men. There you go, Jerry. It'll be nice and cool. Well, you'll be nice and cool in your office area. All right, so that's it. Our University of Texas issue. Our lawyer has responded to their lawyer. We're waiting to hear back from them about the timing of rolling out our silhouette. We are in the process of looking into other logos, and we've actually absolutely taken exception to the fact they don't get to own the color orange. They can own the color burnt orange, but that's not us. So we're in process on that one. You're well aware, I think you're aware, I've been talking to you about it. Our business program is a thing called MAP, M-A-P-P. I don't know what it stands for, but we've had it for years. Well, the people who run that, Greenbush, they're not going to update it anymore. I mean, it's an old DOS program, basically. We know how it works and all that, but it's behind the times. So they are shelving it on July 1 of 2025. So we're in the process of saying, well, we use PowerSchool right now for our student information system. Do they have a business suite as well? So let's merge them together. In theory, we're buying in bulk, we'd get a better deal. Come to find out, they said to us that they don't want to sell PowerSchool business to any districts under 10,000 students. Now, I believe, I won't cuss, that's not correct, because where my wife works, they have 3,500 students, and they have the PowerSchool business side of it. Regardless, they're not wanting to sell it to us. So what we're facing is, we need a business accounting system, or program, software program. So we're researching it. Skyward, there's several different ones out there, but Skyward is being utilized in a variety of districts in the area. So Mike and I he had a first meeting today. We've got a meeting set up next Tuesday to talk through their business side of things. If that works, then we could move forward and say we'll have Skyward for business, PowerSchool for the SIS. I'm more interested in having one-stop shopping. Well, Skyward has the SIS side as well. So the game is afoot. If things go properly, we will be moving into the business side like in October of next year to launch in April, because there's just a whole plethora of data and whatnot you have to get uploaded and ready to work. And so we'd move to the business side, let's say of Skyward, for payroll of April. Then we'd do the same thing with the SIS. So we'd spend another year transitioning to that. So July 1 of 25, we are a Skyward district if we go that way. So that is all in the works.
Power School that we may pull the student section of it, so we have both. of them
Yeah,
combined.
but they don't seem to care. Yeah, and I'm not real thrilled with them anyway, so. The final thing, the good thing about Power School is we know how to work it. We know how to use it. I mean, our teachers know how to do it, our secretaries know how to do it. But any of these other programs like Skyward, they are attuned, aligned with the state data stuff. The amount of data points that go in, nobody out there understands. I mean, it's kind of, it's bureaucratic is what it is. And so there's lots and lots of details that have to be taken care of. And so it's beyond just, here's a kid's grade. There's just a ton of stuff. Final item on here, BOE election deadline to sign up is June 1. I understand Mr. Peterson has begun his election efforts. Mr. Shrivogel, June 1 is the time for you to sign up and pay your $20. And then we have two others who need to consider whether they're doing it or not. So I'm sure if you need assistance on that, call myself. I'll get you in touch with Robin. She'll tell you what to do. So that's my report, man.
Thank you. You know, we could just have our official color be not burnt orange and black.
Call it that.
Burned. Burn in Texas. Okay, let's move on to buildings. Tom?
Hey, I do have I'll come up there so you guys can hear me. Go back to the chiller. I did talk to John this afternoon when I was eating chicken.
John.
John Murray. And he said the best chiller over there is the one at Charles Stone, and I believe it's 180 ton. So he said there's 2 faults on it, but he said they can clear them out and they don't come back for a couple months. But there is faults on all their chillers, but he said Charles Stone will be our best bet.
So we need to go shopping and see which pair of jeans have
Yep.
fewer number of holes in
So,
it.
yeah, I was gonna get with John. We're gonna travel over to Charles Stone hopefully tomorrow and look at it, so.
Okay. And 182 is better than the 175 because it's closer to our 200.
And right now, with this rental one, we did chill the gym and the commons down for graduation with 100 ton. We didn't use the whole 200 ton of it, so.
Well, my wife said it was good and chilly.
I know, I was cold. But
Yeah, it was good
beautiful.
in there.
It was great. So, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. All right, Garrett, grounds.
Nothing further.
Okay. Transportation, Sam?
We have a celebration, right, Sam?
We'll wait till it's here. Our new bus is supposed to be here tomorrow at some point.
Only 15 months late.
Is that all? I thought it was like 2 years.
Well, when we ordered it, and then
Yeah. Anyway, it's supposed to be here tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
maybe we should have ordered it sooner, huh, Sam?
All right. Monica, food service. Okay. Mr. Ackerman, technology. Okay. Well, we'll move to our principals and Mrs. Albright.
And Amy is in Orlando, and she's given you her report. But I'm going to give a shout out for Big Truck Day. Or are you representing Amy? Mm-hmm. Oh, never mind. Miss Tyne will represent Amy Albright.
Okay, she was very organized and left me a written response for her extra at the
At
board
least
meeting.
one of my principals is very organized.
We had our first annual art night on April 26th, and it was a huge success. Mrs. Crockett did an amazing job planning this event for our families. We had local food trucks and the Garden City Arts Center there. The students have worked very hard this year and were eager to show off their art pieces to their family. It was a come-and-go event, and the feedback we received was very positive. We look forward to having this each year going forward. And for my +1, we had our author showcase today. We always enjoy this event, K5, as an opportunity for families to come in and hear all of the amazing writing that the students have done throughout the year. So I know I was there, and it took me the better part of 20 minutes to hear all of the writing, and we skipped several pieces. So I think that was a success, and all the ones I went in, we had great attendance. I was not over at Wiley, but I know they always have great attendance as well. So this is an event we've done for a long time. It started out as the Author's Tea, and we call it Author's Showcase now. So always enjoy that time to be able to show off what the kids have worked so hard on all year.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Helton.
Just reiterate from my report just how pleased I am with MTSS that the high school and the middle school have taken on this year, learning the process of multi-tiered systems of support and looking at getting ELA interventions in place for the new school year. That'll definitely be a focus for me at the open house, just explaining how that looks at the middle school level. Or obviously, if you're an elementary parent, you're familiar with it, but we'll talk about how it looks for us, what I like about it. Getting help from Taz in the group that's taught us this process is we'll be able to offer English interventions to our students without taking away from core time or without taking away an elective. So it's not a punishment. We're just giving them the extra intervention where they need it. It'll come mostly out of the unhooked or their homeroom time. So we're able to get them at that extra support they need in literacy without taking away the fun of school too. So that's awesome. Seeing some preliminary results on FastBridge data, that's an improvement. We celebrated 8th grade today. 91% of our kids either had typical or aggressive growth in either A math or A reading. Tomorrow we'll be celebrating 6th grade. It was about 75% had a typical or aggressive growth in one or the other.
And to put that in perspective, our 5-year goal, this was tied to the KISA goal,
Is 80%.
and we're already
So,
at 91%.
We're already there with 8th grade. One test, we'll see if that cohort hopefully can keep that growth going, and our 7th grade will grow next year. But good results. Anecdotally, talking to the kids today at their celebration, just asked them what was it, what excited you. We offered them a treat. I had a few hands go up for that. But the main thing was almost every hand went up when we talked about class placement. We emphasized how this will inform interventions for next year. So give us your authentic best so we know where you need to be. And they said that resonated with them. So starting to talk that MTSS language with the kids, making a difference, at least shorthand. So excited for where we're going with it.
And on a macro sense, I'd like to give, once again, publicly shout out to both Tyler and Jerry. They were the driving force behind bringing the MTSS at secondary level to the district. It's not that I was opposed to it. I just said, we're busy doing lots of other things. It's like water on a rock. They wore me down. So, all right, let's bring it in. And it's been, I think it's been valuable professional learning, and even more so. We now have a K-12 approach to something. We've not had that. So that's exciting. That's really exciting. The fact that we're pulling the rope all in the same direction, that's going to lead us down a path of success. And we're, like I said, it's early results, and it's mercurial until you get to 3 to 5 years worth of data, but we're seeing positives at this point. So good on you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. All right, Mr. Johnson.
We don't have a whole lot to share at the high school because we're winding down so rapidly. We had graduation on Saturday. Seniors are out. It's always a kind of a bittersweet moment in the fact that you see the seniors go, and these are kids you've had for 4 years, so you get to know them, you get to see them, and then you don't get to see them anymore. So you don't get to laugh and joke around with them in the hallways and see them as they come in and all that kind of stuff, but you also know that they're moving on to life, and that's kind of our process that we're supposed to do, right? But selfishly, it's always a tough thing to say goodbye to some of those guys. So really appreciate those guys. Was a really good class for us. Led our students, led our culture in a good way this year. So we really appreciate the senior class. We have finals coming up this next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just so you guys know, we're still in our hybrid schedule, so it doesn't change any of our schedule, but we'll be taking finals Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, with Friday being our half day, checking Chromebooks in, all that kind of different stuff. So we are definitely at the end, and I think students are starting to feel the pressure a little bit, because some of those that are right on the line of, am I going to make it or am I not going to make it? You're starting to see that a little bit. All of a sudden, homework is becoming really important with some people, of how do I get my grade up? That's what you're supposed to do the first 17 weeks of the semester, but yeah, we're going to cram it in at the end. So some of them are killing it, and they're doing a great job, and so it's just the fun parts of high school where when grades really matter and you have to retake the classes if you don't pass, and it gets to that point at the end of the year. So
I don't recall, last month, did you talk ACT?
I did.
At this,
Yep.
Okay. It wouldn't hurt to reiterate some of those results. I mean, Do you have them in your head? 'Cause
Yep.
I've got it on your report.
Our average ACT this year was a 17.4, which has been up since I went back and take a look. Since 2020, we've been climbing. 2020 was our bottom. Since 2020, we've been on a steady incline. We had 3 students over 30 this year, 2 at 30 and 1 at 32.
And that's a celebration.
Yeah, it really is. We have some really determined, really well juniors right now, and they're really putting in a lot of good effort. We had a bit of shout out. I didn't ask for if I could say her name, but since her mom's in the room, Riley Tyne scored a perfect 36 on the reading, and I've never seen that before. So we've had another student, Sarah C, scored a 35 on the reading. So we have some students that we're really doing some
So
really
you're
good
not
stuff.
privy to Matt Jones's scores from back in the day?
Well, yeah, that was before my tenure. So
But in Colby, I'm 35 years old.
Yeah, he is 35 years old in Colby, so.
perfect. No, so kids are doing really good. I reiterate what Mr. Helton was saying about MTSS. We're excited about MTSS. We think that's going to be one thing that's going to come in that's really going to help push us over the top. I think that MTSS has told us the alignment of that and standards-based grading is going to be really good because you use a lot of the standards-based grading principles with the MTSS to be able to clearly determine where their students are at. And it's easy to apply interventions that way then. So setting up the structure to apply the interventions, setting up standards-based grading to be able to determine where the students are at, we should be able to pinpoint exactly how to move the needle with some of these kids. So we're pretty excited about things that are coming. Teachers have done a great job. I know teachers are looking forward to seeing summer break, but they've been working their butts off. So I really appreciate our teachers too.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Okay, let's move to unfinished business and the elementary school farm presentation.
All righty, we are 1 year under our belt with the new barn, and it's time to come back and share with you just, what we've kind of seen throughout the year. If you'll recall, it's the reason I'm excited about this project is it's not I'm pro ag, but I'm not anti or pro. It's fine. But what I'm excited about is the success skills that are engaged with the kids all the way from K-12. And so through the leadership of Amy and Randy, of course, we had elementary kids go up to the barn every so often and engage with high school kids who actually did the lessons for them about the various animals. And so that's a good thing unto itself. And so I asked them to kind of give a year-end report as to, well, what did we see and where are we kind of headed. So Ms. Tyne has information to share with you.
Okay, and so we really put it into the hands of our students to kind of share a little bit about their visit to the barn this year. So the first question that we asked was, what was your favorite part of your barn visit this year?
So my favorite part about the barn was petting the sheep. My favorite part about the barn was that sometimes we got to pet the animals and that we got to see them.
You need to sell a sheep to that kid.
Oh.
So my favorite part about the barn is that sometimes we gotta
Sorry.
pet
Nicely done.
I'm not sure what's going on here. Okay, here we go. Okay, and our next question was, what did you learn about during your barn visits? And I should have told the other ones. That was, let me go back. We heard from kindergartner Drew Mead and fourth grader Coy Ginther. And for this next one, first grader Sadie Miller.
There's different kind of pigs, and some have spots, and some have pointy and droopy ears.
Okay, and our next one was fifth grader Damian Wright.
Being noisy can cause farm animals to be mad, and probably they get mad enough to jump over the cage.
Could happen.
That's an important thing that they need to be aware of. Our next one is Natalia Gonzalez Treto, another fifth grader.
farm visits, we learned that there are about 600 different horse breeds and that they also eat something called alfalfa.
Okay, and finally from fourth grader Catherine Nevin. That one was a little loud because it was actually during one of the barn visits, but oh goodness.
There's different kind of pigs and
Oh my goodness.
big.
How do I make it go? Go to the next slide. Oh, that was stressful. Okay, do you want to visit the barn again next year, and why? Second grader Emily Rojas.
I like going to the barn because I like to pet them and feed them, and I can't go with my family because they don't really know what a farm is.
And next one, Jaylee Molina, second grade.
I enjoy going to the farm because my grandpa had a farm, but we don't often go to his farm. So I like going to. I was excited when I heard that we were going to a farm this year.
Okay, and the final one, third grader Jara Pena.
I would like to go back to the farm because I like seeing animals and I want to see if they ever get some new animals.
Okay, and that was straight from the mouth of the kiddos. Do you have any questions for me about our barn visits? I really felt like one of the valuable things for us, for the K-12 group, is that the older kids actually planned those lessons. And I think we talked about it before. You know, they learned a lot about what you can do with kindergarten, you know, versus what you can do with fifth grade, you know, and things that might hold their attention, things that might not. I think they learned a lot about management of kids, even though it's a small group. So I think that was great. And I think our kids, you know, were, like many of them said, they love being around animals. They love being able to pet them and see them. And so even though it was only, I think we tried to do one per quarter, I think it was something that most kids looked forward to.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stein.
All right, let's move to republish general fund and at-risk budgets.
Okay, as I alluded to earlier, we are in the enviable position of being able to access more monies for the district. The at-risk funding, we are in the need to republish so as to get those monies, okay? The reason the money is sitting there is because the state changed the watermark, what a person has to achieve in order to qualify for at-risk. And then also, we're coming out of the year or 2 years where everybody ate for free. Families were incentivized to fill out the paperwork. So those two factors came together, and we will, if we choose to do this, republish and adopt the newly adjusted budget. You get $133,000 plus is what we get. But in order for that to occur, the board has to make the motion and to approve the motion to republish the general fund and the at-risk fund budgets. I think it's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned because it costs the local taxpayers $0. It's a weighting factor that comes to us straight from the state of Kansas. So we use it with at-risk kids, and usually goes into salaries of our teachers. So I recommend the board approve of republishing the general fund and the at-risk fund budgets. The next month, if you do this, we'll have the hearing like we normally would, Matt, at the beginning of right before the meeting, and then to be an action item within the agenda.
I'll make the motion to approve the republishing of the general fund and at-risk fund budgets for June meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved, and that was Casey and Jill. It's been moved and seconded to republish the general fund and at-risk fund budgets. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, let's move to KISA pilot update.
Okay, principals, be on your toes. We're finishing the second year of the new cycle of KISA. KISA, if you recall, is our accreditation system, and we were one of the pilot schools taking part. And so we, throughout the last 2 years, have been working with the KSDE and Cimarron and Dodge City in particular when we go down to Southwest Plains Regional Service Center 2 to 3 times a year. Well, we went late April and had our final showcase of success, and we showed really well. The team, leadership, the team, the teachers are doing a fine job with the process of moving down the path of accreditation. I've been a little frustrated with the state of Kansas because we've been pushing, trying to get answers about, well, what's going to be the final telling factor on accreditation or not. Finally heard some things that make me a little bit happier. Kindergarten readiness has been bantied about as one of the items you have to achieve in order to have be fully accredited. And while I'm a 100% proponent of early childhood programming, to me it's nonsensical to hold districts accountable to kindergarten readiness when we have no jurisdiction, no power, no authority whatsoever to have a family send the 3-year-old to our preschool or to have them be a part of our PAT program. Actually, in Kansas, most everyone sends their kids to school in kindergarten. They don't have to. Compulsory attendance doesn't begin until the age of 6 in the state of Kansas. So, depending on how they were going to, put that around, have that in the mix, and there's this program called the STAR program, which I'm opposed to, by the way, but in order to get the purple star within early childhood programming, you have to have a thing called Even Start. We can't have Even Start. It doesn't exist, given the size of our district and what's in our what's available to us. So right off the bat, we can't win that. We can't win that game. So I got talking to the person who's leading the program and then also the Commissioner of Education 2 weeks or a week and a half apart from each other. And I just kept saying, don't call it kindergarten ready. Just call it early childhood programming. I'm 100% behind that. Good enough. And then, well, we're not so sure yet, but we're looking at that. Okay. The other piece is the academic achievement piece of this, because they have to be able to show academic growth. All right, that's fine. And they keep doubling down, saying it's going to be state assessments. Well, I take huge exception to that because the state assessments have not been a growth measure. It's a one-time-a-year test. And so that's why we've moved into, and we're telling the story that we're using FastBridge because it's progress monitoring. We test 3 times a year. We can show where a kid starts and where he or she finishes, and we show the growth in that. We're talking to them, and they said, well, they've got an answer to this. They have a hotshot psychometrician who they've hired out of Harvard, and supposedly he has done the voodoo math and has built the algorithm that will be able to show the growth academically. Let's say Ryan takes the reading test in 5th grade, he takes it again in 6th grade. Through the magic math they show, it'll be able to show the actual growth individually. Now, if that's true, okay, I'll shut up, I'll back off. Except for the high school issue. We only take the test once in high school. And so we take different tests. So you'll take the test in 8th grade, then sit around and do nothing until 10th grade. That voodoo math, it better be double special voodoo math in order for that to occur. So anyway, I think we showed really well with our report. It's official that I had to share this with you. I did get it loaded up. Thank you very much, Ms. Tyne. Finally, I got our report submitted. Principals, anything to add as far as what your process-wise with your people, results you want to share with the board, anything whatsoever?
I think it was a good process. It was nice for us to be able to. It was nice for us to be able to talk about the work that we've done and how we've worked on at K-12. So it was really nice and it felt good to present that to other people and to be able to celebrate that with everybody that was there, with the team, because we have several teachers that join us as well. And so it was a great process, and it helps you realize and take note of the accomplishments and the work that you've done throughout the year.
Do the other districts see the same problems that you just?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm not shy about voicing my opinion.
We know.
Yeah, and sometimes I just say to them, come on, gang. I mean, one voice out in the wilderness is not going to do much. But if we can get a coalition of people just telling the truth, maybe they'll listen. And so I think maybe they're listening. Maybe.
The thing I'd add is I thought our district did a great job. All the teachers present, the counselors, everyone was able to speak on what we're doing. They were able to speak to the vision. They were able to speak to the data. One of the other districts there was not able to do that. So it shows that we're rowing the same way as a team. And we've talked about that with MTSS and some other things, but K-12, we're moving in the right direction. And teachers, counselors, principals, everyone's able to speak to the data and able to speak to the vision.
I think the process part that I like is they don't just come, you don't just get there with other schools and you dive into your data and say, well, here's your problem. You need to figure out a way to fix it. I like the step-by-step process we've gone through as far as to say, we're going to actually look at our data. They're going to come up with some steps, some solutions, help us find goals, then go back to your groups and kind of bounce ideas off each other of how do we achieve some of those goals. So it's been a really good, I think, step-by-step process, and that's how we got to MTSS. MTSS Tasman was at one of those, and they talk about having screeners and looking at your data and seeing where your data is at, and then taking a look at your core and how do you strengthen your core so that you can work with the students with the interventions. And so it's been really good as far as PD for us to go down, and the teachers. The nice thing about it is taking teachers with you when they go back and they're talking to other teachers. They're like, no, this isn't like one more thing. This is just something that we do, and we have to get a little bit better at it. So I think it's been a really good step-by-step process.
So I think we're in a good spot, and we're headed into year 3. Of course, they've stopped the pilot. So it'll be, they're going to basically take a year to work a few things, and then in the year 24-25, come out with what they're calling enhanced KISA. And we'll be in the front row seats to help.
It's not double secret.
Not double secret, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so
All right.
that's
Okay.
it.
Thank you. All right, let's move to Insurance Committee work and update.
All right, coming from the high of the KISA experience to the realities of putting on our big boy pants and talking about insurance. Projected, we're going to have a 20 to 30% increase in our insurance premiums this year, unless something changes. Now, Mike and I have been engaging with other providers and other brokers. We're not just going to sit back and say, oh, okay, that's what it is, and go from there. Another piece we've done, we've surveyed the people on the insurance. Now, not everybody filled out the survey, but they had the opportunity to. And what I've received back is, in order, to our people, most important factor is premium. Second is deductible. Third is copay. Fourth is pharmaceutical coverage. I'm kind of surprised by that. I figured that'd be number 2, but I'm a little bit longer in the teeth, and so pharmaceuticals matter maybe a little bit more. This year's premium is $506 per month. 30% increase, always plan for the worst, is an additional $151. So that would make it $656 per month. This is just for the single. I did not do the math on the family because it gets a little bit crazier there. The board provides $572 per single policy. That would leave an overage of $84 out of pocket if that all comes to fruition. Now it's pre-tax dollars, so in realized money, it's 60 some odd dollars, but it's still money out of pocket. So that's what we're looking at. We will, with this new information, I'll be reaching out to Toby soon, because he said, well, give me this, what do we really want, and what's the most important, and maybe we can start tweaking things around. In the meantime, like I said, Mike and I are still engaging with other groups, and just because we've been working with Bill's group doesn't mean we have to stay with Bill's group. And so we will hopefully, we will have to come back to you. I want to do it in June, but we could even do it in July. We got to let the souffle rise, and we'll come back with the best deal we can get for insurance. But I learned long ago, be it health insurance or property insurance, we're not really supposed to win. And so we've had a good run. Now we're going to suffer the consequences, suffer increases. So.
Is that because our population is getting older?
They run it anymore, Ryan, on its use. It's on usage, right? On the pharmaceuticals. with this other guy we're working with, all he wanted was census data, and then was able to gather, who's on what drugs. Because if you're taking hydrochlorothiazide, something I'm taking, that's a precursor to blood pressure. Well, blood pressure leads to, so it's a lot of extrapolation, but it's interesting that is the marker. That particular approach from the health benefits advisors is all about the pharmaceuticals. But yeah, it's you use your insurance, premium's going to go up. And so as you get older, we have other issues. If you get younger, you have babies. I mean, it's just, but we have insurance for a reason. So not about to blame anybody. I mean, everybody's got their things. So, yep.
So mainly you think it's the pharmaceuticals that,
According to this other broker, because he's come back and said, hey, if you get a good rate with them, go with it, because I can't beat it. And he seemed pretty confident that he could. So we'll see.
Pfizer. All right, let's move to Chromebook policy update.
Mr. Ackerman. Okay, this is just one of our handbooks. As you well know, anytime we update a handbook or the board approves of them, it's akin to board policy. Okay, you're going to be receiving a variety of different handbooks over the next 2 months. A lot of it is just mechanical, commas, updating names, changing dates. As we get to the more substantive types of items, that's why I want people to come in and talk with you. The Chromebook policy, there are a few updates, but the only one really worth discussing is how we're planning on covering broken devices. In the past, we've gone back and forth between us providing insurance to everyone to then providing it to an opportunity for families to buy into it, okay? And now we're looking at, because it's just a losing game, because this is how we educate. And so if a machine is broken, we're going to kick them out? No, we're not doing that, but we try to do it with hard copies, but anymore, our curriculum's online is what it is. So Randy and I put our heads together on this, and what we've baked into the policy, it's on page 4C, fee structure to repair damaged Chromebooks. We got to talking about it. Can we do our own work? Can we be our own triage? And Randy said, yeah, I think we can. I said, well, let's run a pilot. Let's see. Let's do this for a while. See how it goes. And so when something would come in, and particularly if that individual student didn't have insurance, because not everybody has insurance, we'd just fix it. We'd go about fixing it. And we learned that we can fix most everything. Now some things are beyond repair because, it's destroyed, okay? So then we figured, well, how do we justify this, or how do we pay for it? So what we put together was on the first event, now all these had to do with nothing intentional. If it's intentional, it's 100% on the family. Okay, if a kid throws against the wall, puts it underwater, whatever, then it's on them, because those things occur. But if a kid accidentally throws up on the Chromebook, which occurred this year, nobody did that on purpose.
She's gone.
Yeah, she's not here right now. Then what we're looking at is first instance $25 copay from the family. Second instance $100 copay. Now, by this time, now we're looking at maybe it's a pattern of behavior, or the kid's just not paying attention. So by the third occurrence, family takes it on 100%. Okay, if it's lost or stolen, family takes it on for 100%. If it's intentional, family takes it on for 100%. Then we all have the proviso with extenuating circumstances. The superintendent would have the ability to adjust what we charge people. Think house fire, car wreck, some act of God type thing. Or there's some other reason, then we can always back these off and change it. So we want to move forward on this one because maybe 25% of our families bought the insurance.
It's about 40, but at the high school and about 35 at the middle school. And the principals and everybody, we promoted it really hard this year, and we just didn't get above 50%, which we really needed to get.
And at $33 coverage, it's not much, but when you say we take it on, that's $33,000 that you have to use general fund for, or LOB. That's teacher salaries or Randy's salary.
And replacement parts are really expensive, like anything else. It's hard to get a hold of right now. And because of that, it's tough to go back at a family that didn't want to buy the insurance in the first place at a reduced rate and try to ask them to pay for expensive parts. So.
So we're working this system and see how it goes. We have hopes. I mean, like I said, we've run a pilot program on it. So I'm here tonight to recommend the board approve the updated Chromebook policy as presented.
So we're just getting rid of the insurance altogether.
Yes, that's correct. Now, that doesn't preclude somebody from getting their own insurance. I mean, put it under their homeowners probably. Yeah.
And how do you go about collecting?
That's later on the agenda.
Okay.
Nice segue, Mr.
Not very
Schreiber.
well, honestly.
Oh, we have an answer. Not very well.
We have outstanding debt there.
So we won't carry, I mean, as a school, won't carry insurance at all.
For the repair insurance. Yeah, we had specialized, 2 years ago, specialized insurance for that, only for that. That's what it did, was to fix broken technology.
We won't have that at all.
Right.
Tell BR not to put it over his head in a hailstorm.
We got, knock on wood, we got through this year.
I'll recommend we do the pilot program recommended by Dr. Meyer and Mr. Ackerman.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Ryan Trevogel and Sean moved and seconded to approve the updated Chromebook policy as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, high school course catalog.
This is another one of those things, every year we bring it to you. It's a catalog, but it's their handbook. This particular year, we've got some exciting things for you to consider and hopefully approve. If you'll recall, we have expanded our dual credit offerings, opportunities to now to summertime, evening, whatever. So it's baked into this handbook now. And then also we have additional CTE courses, career technical ed courses. Remember, those are all funded type things. 50% funding. And then also, opportunity to offer AP English, which I'm very proud of that because there are those out there who say schools our size cannot have AP. Yes, they can. Why not? If we have the right people in place and the right vision, we should be able to offer AP. So anyway, what I'm asking you to do is recommend the board approve of the updated high school course catalog, which includes those things I just talked about.
So moved.
Second.
Curtis and Ryan Schreibogel. It's been moved and seconded to approve the updated high school course catalog. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, farm policy update.
As you well know, this is the end of our first year of working with the farm, meaning the barn. And so it only makes sense that we learn, hey, we need to adjust some policies a little bit. So working with Marcy, she brought forward 3, then a board member had recommended a change on something as well, which makes perfect sense. So there's 4 changes that that I'm recommending to you as far as adjustments to the farm policy. The first one is, early in the handbook, it used to read, only students enrolled at USD 363, Holcomb schools, and members of the FFA or Finney County 4-H members with direct ties to a USD staff member and is a current 363 student will be allowed to keep livestock projects on the property. The idea is change it to or, which I embrace. It should be open to all 363 students. It shouldn't have to be this and this in order to do it. So 363 students would be allowed. Second was to change the size limit of a pig. We had written into it pigs under 150 pounds. Now it says pigs under 350 pounds. The third adjustment, no fully grown intact male breeding stock allowed on the farm is what it was originally written, when really it should be in the barn. It can still be outside. Makes sense. And then the final adjustment was limiting each pen will be assigned to one exhibitor with a maximum of 2 animals per pen, with the proviso determined by species size and pen size. So if it's bunnies and you can have more than 2. If it's one of the bigger pens, you can have more than 2, depending on what it is. So, 3 of these came from Marcy after she and I had talked about things, and I recommend the board approve of the updated farm policy as presented.
I would like to make an amendment to that and also change on number 2 to change from market to just only livestock or take market out of it. Cause we have breeding animals as well.
So not just limiting it to market livestock, but
Yes,
market and breeding livestock. How
there you
about
go.
that?
Market and breeding, add breeding.
So,
You could just take out
So-
only market, just
Just
take
say
off the
livestock.
first 2 words, just make it livestock.
And then sheep, goats, bucket cows.
okay, so take out only market.
Market.
Only
Yep.
market.
Okay? Was that the,
Yes.
Okay.
Change out, take out only market.
okay? I have reflected that.
Good catch.
So now, what I do, I would recommend the board approve of the updated farm policy with the amendments as recommended by Ms. Robinson.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan Schreivogel and Jill. It's been moved and seconded to approve the updated farm policy with the adjustment from Mrs. Robinson, as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You
That
should
was
vote against
words.
your own amendment.
Yeah.
That was word salad, wasn't it? All right, let's move to new business and Kansas Debt Recovery Service.
Here you go, Mr. Schreivogel. Solve the world's woes. Yeah. Come to find out, the state of Kansas has a program called the Kansas Debt Recovery Service. My second year here, maybe, whatever. I brought the idea to you about getting, allowing us to use collection agencies to collect debt. It just doesn't taste good. I mean, it was my idea. I brought it to you. I don't know. I just didn't care for it. The KDSRS state run program. We have to do certain things before we can turn it over to them. Basically, we have to notify the family multiple times in a documented way. So certified letters. Then they collect the debt. They garnish wages. They get it from tax returns. There's a variety of ways that they can get the debt. If there's 2 programs they offer, if we provide, and I'm not interested in this option, but I'll tell it to you anyway. If we provide the individual's social security number, then we would get 80% of whatever they recover. They'd keep the 20% to keep their doors open. If we do not provide the social security number, then we'd receive 70%. And they get, I guess the extra 10% to go find the person is what it is. I'm not asking for your approval on this tonight. I just wanted to talk about it, because this is, it's getting down the path of, we right as we speak for this year, over $21,000 in debt, not paid, for a variety of reasons. So it could be educational materials fees, it could be athletic, it could be next year Chromebook, or a variety of things. So I'm not asking for a motion at all, but I would love to have a conversation about this. So, thoughts? And we're not unique on this, by the way. The GWAC SUPs get together once a month and talk things through, and every district has issues. We're actually in a good spot, relatively, as far as how much is owed to us.
21 can jump to 30 just overnight,
Yes, sir.
real quick, in a semester.
Yes, everybody doesn't want any more fees than possible going into school year, but it's all known going in at the beginning of the year. Why would we not provide social security numbers to people who owe the district money?
My thought on that is just personal information, that's all. But once again, I'm not married to it. If the board embraced doing this, and then embraced doing it with, I see myself bringing forward a motion, if we wrap our minds around it, going for the 70%, because 70% is better than 0%. The closer we get to people's personally identifiable information, a little more skittish I get. But it's public record. I mean, social security numbers, you can find them.
I guess, do we collect the parents' social security numbers or
Yeah.
the kids'?
No, it'd be the parents. Yeah. I mean, like I said, that's how they follow the bouncy ball of either garnishing wages or tax returns.
I just feel icky as a school district, garnishing somebody's wages. I mean,
I shared my family story growing up. Absolutely, my father never paid a bill one time for public education. So yeah, I've got mixed feelings on this as well.
I agree with Matt, but at the same time, we give people, the opportunity to, we give them another avenue if they can't afford it, just in filling out the paperwork, and
Certainly.
if you're not capable of paying it, and you still don't fill out the paperwork, then at some point, it's time to take responsibility for that. And I'm not saying that's not the ones that don't pay, but, I mean, I don't know. I think it's something to think about.
Yeah, I think it's worth talking about and thinking about, yes. I think of, if a family's having trouble feeding their kids, I don't know.
And maybe that's how we address that, Matt, is in the letters that we send out, just state that if it's because you're truly stretched and can't pay it, come in and let us know that.
Right.
And then at that point, we have to decide, just be honest with us.
Coming from being in banking and collections for 20 years, communication is key. I mean, if you can come in and talk and say, hey, put me on payments, it's a lot different than just not communicating at all. So
Right.
we could definitely put that in the letters.
Agree with you there. I hate beating a dead horse, but communications is number one.
Yeah, yeah. We can always work with somebody.
And that's, leads to, do we need that if we can communicate, those, if they can't, do we really need to necessarily go down this path,
Yeah, we would always have
Yeah,
the
but
discretion
go this
to
way.
turn them over to this agency.
Well, and as I say, and that's, the requirement of the program is you have to have formally reached out. But, we could write our letter however we want to write the letter. Pay us or else, or, hey, if you want to work this out, let's come in, let's have a meeting, we can talk, we can work it out. A buddy of mine used to be the CFO for a hospital down at Morton County. He said, $10 a month. That's all we want.
Yeah.
Just something.
Just pay a little extra,
Yeah.
$3, $4.
Yeah, whatever it is.
I mean,
afford.
I know we got 21. You take that to one person, they would probably have, I could see a $600 bill or nothing major. Not a $1,200 to $1,500. Somebody's not going to owe that much, but it's just, that be able to get it paid down by the semester or something. Set up a payment schedule.
And just so you're aware, legally, if you follow this all the way down the beaten path, what if somebody said, I'm not paying, I'm just not going to? It's illegal to keep a kid from passing classes. It's illegal to say they cannot graduate. You do have the right not to hand them their diploma, though, so they don't get the piece of paper. Whatever. If you really want to start talking about, what teeth are in the dog? Well, none.
Free public education.
There you go, buddy. Joe Myers would be proud of you for saying those words. So I'll work it, and like I said, nothing says this has to take place, but I'm also not one to sit and let's rehash. Work some things around and bring something to you in June if you can say yes or no to it, and then July would be we're doing it or we're not, as far as I'm concerned.
So coming back to the Chromebook, if they break it 2 times, do we give it back to them?
That's
free public education.
yeah. I know, that's the point, right?
Or they just don't get to take it home.
Yeah, and we do a variety of things like that. We've got loaners in the classroom right there.
Okay,
Moving on.
Babysitting.
moving on. All right.
Fix that one. Way to be.
Let's move to joining a purchasing cooperative.
This does fix it. We're currently a purchasing co-op it's a group that they go out and basically make deals with vendors, so that rather than us as a consumer have to buy something at retail, we buy it at wholesale. Okay, we're a member of 2 different purchasing co-ops as we speak. One is for the food service, and then another, when we put in the LED lights, Tips out of Texas. Key Office Supply, who gives us a lot of different, they provide a lot of different resources for us, furniture, copiers, stuff in general, came over and said, hey, there's a new purchasing co-op called PACE. And so I took a meeting with Brooks, and we were talking through, and it's a catalog of just thousands of things. I mean, just school materials and heck, cars. I mean, everything in between. And the idea is, of course, they've done the negotiations for you. What really caught my attention was he said, 20 reams of paper at retail is over $400. If you were to buy it through this purchasing co-op, it'd be about $200. So that's okay. That got my attention. So what's it cost to be a member of this? Free. If we join up, do we have to buy only from them exclusively? No. I mean, there's no lose here, as far as I'm concerned. What we're prepared to do, I'm bringing you, I recommend that we approve joining the purchasing co-op, the PACE Purchasing Cooperative. We are gathering year-end requisitions, teaching supplies, whatnot. And I had Norma hold them, just hold them. So let's say these numbers aren't real, but let's say there's $1,000 worth, that Randy wants to buy $1,000 worth of pencils. If this all turns out to be accurate, and it takes a little bit of time to make it happen, what if we get them for $600 instead? We just save $400, which is general fund again. So that's a good thing. It rolls back into something else. The only timeline on this, we have to encumber these funds before the end of the fiscal year. So I'm hoping the board will say yes to this tonight. Tomorrow, we'll be calling Brooks, we're signed up, let's go. How long to operationalize this thing? We're one of the first customers who's actually moving on this, so that's kind of exciting. It's not going to save the world, but it would be more efficient for us to purchase our stuff through a purchasing co-op, and it's local, which is a good thing for us as well. So, Mr. President, I recommend the board approve of joining the PACE Purchasing Cooperative.
So moved.
Casey?
Second.
Jill. Moved and seconded to join the PACE Purchasing Cooperative. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, out-of-state travel requests.
And you received an extra one because one got turned in over the weekend. You now have 4 requests for travel for out-of-state summer programs for different camps, basically. You've got boys basketball going to Oklahoma, cross-country going to Colorado, wrestling to Nebraska, and girls basketball to Colorado. These are all paid for by the various clubs or teams in this case. They just ask for utilize of school facility vehicles. A variety of who's doing the driving, but basically they're footing the bill. And so I do recommend that you approve of the 4 requests to travel out of state this summer for these camps.
So moved.
Second.
Ryan Travogel and Jill. It's been moved and seconded to approve the presented requests for out-of-state travel as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, summer food service program.
For the past 7 years, I would make this the 8th year. The district has been eligible to offer summer food service, but it takes board action to do so. It's a variety of services. There's congregate, non-congregate. Basically, it means can the kids grab it and go, or do they have to sit there and eat? We're basically we're going to go back to the full service length of time. And we'd backed it off previously due to personnel. So what we're recommending to you tonight is the summer food program operates from May 15 through June 30. And so I recommend the summer meal program be approved.
So moved.
Second. Sean and Curtis. It's been moved and seconded to continue the summer meal program as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, donations to the district.
We have one extra one to put on there. Now we have 5 donations instead of 4. I'm recommending that the board accept all these. Iron Insurance, $1,000. Bill McNeil and Family, $1,000. Dream First Bank, $1,500. Garden City Teachers Federal Credit Union, $52.95. It's tied to a debit card program. And the one that we got today is Girl Scouts are donating $1,262 worth of a round picnic table to be put out in the learning corral out behind Holcomb Elementary School. I say we're blessed to have patrons who want to help us out, and so I recommend the board accept the donations as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Casey and Jill. It's been moved and seconded to accept the donations to the district as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You know, and the Girl Scouts can donate the Thin Mints.
Yeah, exactly.
To the board
That,
as much as they want.
that darn tootin' they
They'll
should.
always accept that.
Best
so.
cookie ever made.
That's right. All right, let's move to disposal list.
Twice a year, I bring before you a disposal list of equipment and property we just don't use anymore, and we are finally honing in and getting this puppy done. It's amazing. 5 years of doing this, the 10th time minimally I brought this to you. Ryan, you should have been here year 1 or 2. Oh my gosh, I mean, hundreds of items, but we're getting close.
pages?
There's really, in fact, there's nothing even on here this time around for me to highlight. You know, just it's trash.
Nothing cool?
Nothing cool.
There really wasn't much on
Yeah,
this
it's just
one,
kind
no.
of, broken things. Let's get rid of them. If you'll recall, the process on this, if the board approves of this, and I recommend that you do, first thing we do is we put out an email to the staff. Robin puts an email out saying, hey, if you want to use this for professional use, come get it. You can lay claim to it. Give that a certain amount of time. Then we go to the sponsors of the various organizations, say, hey, do you want to sell? Not that we have any on here. Old uniforms, that was one we had before. $5 each, put the money in your coffers, great. We'll move on down the road on that. If that still didn't take, we dispose of the items appropriately. So, and we're almost done. It's amazing. So I recommend that the board approve of the disposal list as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Jill and Curtis. Been moved and seconded to approve the disposal of local district-owned equipment, supplies, and junk. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The valuable
Opposed.
stuff that we have to do.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm kind of a hoarder, and I didn't see anything on that list.
I know.
Yeah, I know. I tell you, just for fun, have Robin send you one from like 4 years ago. That's how I got my frog. That's how I got my tree in my office.
All right, we're gonna do executive session.
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
I know.
Including you and,
Principals as needed. We'll start with Randy, please.
okay. So, let's see. I need a motion to approve going into executive session for 30 minutes at 8:10 to include Dr. Myers and principals as needed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Did we have a motion?
Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
I move.
Okay, Jill and Curtis moved and seconded to go into executive session for 30 minutes with Dr. Myers and principals as needed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I jumped the gun on that one, didn't I?